Hi, folks. This is John Decker, the Director of Community Services at Alta California Regional Center. Today is May 31st, 2024, and this is Coffee with Community Services, Alta California Regional Center's weekly service provider meeting. Thank you so much for joining us today. As usual, I will go over our agenda and introduce our staff. So, start with our staff introductions from Community Services. I see Melinda and Christy on. Good morning. Christy Schaefer, we have a number of Christies around. We have Christine on and Tom, good morning. And Michael, who will be presenting shortly, is on. And Beverly's on from Community Services, good morning. From Client Services Manager Max is on, good morning. And from Community Services, I see Shauna and Jessica and Jolana and our manager Helen, good morning. Let's see, I see Janice on. Good morning, Janice. And let's see, Ethan is on, and our employment specialist Carly's on. And good morning to Rihanna. Our director of intake and clinical services, Camelia, is on this morning as well. Good morning, Camelia. And from client services, I see Cindy Lay as well. And good morning to Jaslyn from community services too. Let's see, my assistant Zach is on. Good morning, Zach. Good to see you here. We've got our QA specialist Marty is on. Good morning, Marty, too. I see Belinda's popped on there, too. Hi, Belinda. And our manager Michelle is on, and our director of client services, Michelle Johnson, is on here, too. And hi, Carol from client services as well, Deaf and SLS services. So, got quite a few folks. Folks are still joining right now, but we've got a bit of a big agenda. I've missed you guys. I was gone for a whole week out doing meetings, different places, and heard that everyone had a great meeting. For today's agenda, we're going to jump into Michael's presentation first for our sign of the week and our Deaf Culture 101. Michelle's going to give us an update on the DSP stipend. We are going to give some, I guess, breaking news or updated news on the California budget as far as we know it as of today. We are going to give an update on, well, I will talk about my experience at the Capitol rally. I know it's been a whole week since I was there, but I certainly enjoyed my opportunity. I know there's a rally going on, I believe today down in Southern California, and there was one yesterday as well. I'm going to give a, we had, the reason why I was gone was that I was at ARCA meetings. And so I received updates from the Department of Developmental Services about the rate study implementation. And so I want to be able to give folks as much of an update as I have about the rate study and where we're at with that, kind of regardless of the budget situation. And then we're going to get Scott on, I believe, to give us some updated HCBS numbers. We are going to, I believe, we're going to get Hubert on at some point, and we are going to see if we can get some updated information from Hubert as well. I saw Jordan shaking her head there, and good morning to Jordan and Scott and Dan that have joined us, and I see Toby on as well. Good to see you guys. And then we have just some updates on, there's some HCBS projects that are going on and as well statewide that I wanted to share with folks. And then we've got some, when we talk about the rate study update, we've got some updates about the transportation rates, and we can talk about the vendor forum a little bit as well and upcoming vendor forums. So lots on the agenda for today, but we ran through that relatively quickly. Michael, I will throw it over to you now, and I am going to spotlight you for everyone.
Hello, good morning, everybody. So today's sign of the week, we have two words for you: quiet and loud. So I will start with quiet. You start with your hands in the B hand shape like this. You're going to touch your mouth and cross your hands over and bring them down to show quiet. Can everybody see me okay? Am I spotlighted? Okay, great. So quiet. Excellent. Now for loud. You start with your hand touching your ear here. You use the 5-hand shape. Both hands have one hand touching your ear, and then you bring your hands into a fist and shake them like this. This is loud. Loud, just like that. So quiet and loud. So this was a good lesson for you. I believe I reviewed or I'm sorry, I will send out the YouTube link for you to review this sign later. And now I'm going to take a moment to talk about Deaf Culture 101. Today's topic is going to be Gallaudet University. This is very important for the deaf community. Many of us are aware of Gallaudet University. Maybe some of you are familiar with this, maybe you have never heard of it. But Gallaudet University is a very unique university because it is for deaf and hard of hearing students. It's a deaf university. It's the only one in the entire world. And so what that means is Gallaudet University has mostly deaf professors using sign language during class to teach. An interpreter is not needed. They are accessing education in their native language and interacting in their natural language. Gallaudet University is in Washington, D.C., and they have several deaf cultural aspects involved, whether it be in music, theater, ASL poetry, art, drama. Gallaudet also has a specially designed classroom, unlike a traditional university, what we would call a hearing university, where everybody sits in a row to watch the professor or listen to the lecture. But for deaf students who aren't speaking, or I'm sorry, and deaf students in this environment have to look around the room to see who's speaking. So at Gallaudet University, the setup is a U-shaped table, so everyone can see each other as they're making comments. So classrooms are designed and educational programs are designed specifically to serve deaf and hard of hearing students at this university. Students come from several different states all over the country and internationally to attend Gallaudet University. They feel a pride and connection to deaf culture, being able to attend this university, being provided resources, and socializing with deaf and hard of hearing peers during their educational journey. So that's all I have for you today.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Michael. And again, we record the sign of the week and they are available on our YouTube channel. I want to encourage folks to check those out. And if I see people doing the loud one around me, now I'll understand why, because it does get a little loud when we're talking in the hallways there. So, all right. Very cool. Thank you very much, Michael. Let's see, Michelle Duchesne. Shall we talk more about the DSP stipend?
Yeah. So we did not receive our weekly numbers that I can share with you guys, but we do have some big numbers that I wanted to also just give you. So we have 31 days left until the end of the stipend availability, which is June 30th. So we met with accounting this morning, and I did mention this a couple weeks ago. So a payment of approximately 792,000 went out May 22nd. And our next payment is going to be about 230,000 approximately, and that will go out sometime in June. So just a reminder, your staff do have until the till the end of June, on the 24th hour, basically June 30th. So if they submit and complete that training, we will continue to process those into July. However, they are no longer eligible after the 30th of June. If you have any other questions, we have the DSP stipend at altaregional.org. I can put that in the chat.
Excellent. Again, can't say enough about, if we're paying out this amount, that means we're still having a heavy utilization by our service providers and getting this done. So final push here for this availability, and we'll look forward to, again, getting as many trained DSPs and getting a lot of extra dollars in their pockets as well. So great job, service providers. All right. I want to, let's see, I do have Hubert on. And so Hubert, I heard we have some tips and tricks that we may be able to share with some folks. May I allow you to share your screen, or do you need to?
No, you're okay. Actually, if you can allow me the access, that would be great. I have some additional resources I want to share at the end of my tips and tricks for today.
All right, you've got the access.
Cool. Thank you.
I'll do the email for the hours. Yeah.
Hi, everyone. My name's Hubert Enriquez. I am the Emergency Response Coordinator for Alta California Regional Center. Just here to remind you that today is actually National Heat Awareness Day. It is observed today, and what National Heat Awareness Day is, it's an effort by the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, otherwise known as OSHA, and the National Weather Service to alert workers, employers, and the public at large in our communities about the preventable health dangers related to heat. More specifically, this day was founded as a reminder that many outdoor workers and laborers are at risk of serious heat-induced conditions like heat exhaustion, dehydration, heat stroke, and even death. So with that being said, I do have a couple of tips that are pretty easy to follow, but also pretty easy to forget to stay safe within the upcoming months. So the first one is to stay hydrated. This should be a given, but also a lot of times people just forget to hydrate. People are pretty busy throughout their days, but just to remember that as an adult, you should be drinking at least 7 to 8 cups of water per day. The second tip is to keep your fashion light and breezy. So wear loose fitting and lightweight clothing made with breathable fabrics such as cotton. The third one is wear some sunscreen. Whether you're at the beach or, even if you're driving your car, a lot of the times the sun can get through your glass window, depending on where you drive. So it's never a bad idea to wear sunscreen. And be sure to find sunscreen that's, specific to wearing on your face as well. The fourth tip is to avoid going outdoors during peak times of the excessive heat waves during summer, right? Kind of build your routine and schedule around having outdoor time within the early mornings or, during later afternoons to avoid, direct sunlight. And if you do plan on going outside during direct sunlight during peak hours, be mindful of how your body reacts to sun. Be mindful to pack sunscreen and plenty of water just in case. So lastly, I do want to kind of bring light to the natural disasters that summer months bring, such as wildfires, especially here in California. So what I'm going to do here is I am going to share my screen and kind of show you guys some resources on where we can find ways to prepare for wildfires this summer. Is our emergency preparedness page. So I'm just kind of going to walk through it. I'll bring you home to our homepage. So from here, can I just get a thumbs up that everyone can see what I am seeing?
Looks perfect. Yep.
Cool. So first we go to the menu. We go under clients and families. All the way at the bottom, we'll go to resources. And then on the left here, we have all of these resources in tabs. We go to the emergency preparedness page and we scroll all the way down to Red Cross Wildfire Pre-Planning and Evacuation Training. If you click here, there will be multiple videos on different ways one can prepare for wildfires and how they can properly evacuate, both for clients and for residential facilities. So pretty specific to our AFN communities here. So yeah, those are basically just resources, and then I could also drop a link in the chat. But that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Hubert. That is how we roll here. No notice whatsoever, and he got all that information for us. Thank you so much. That was perfect. And now you guys know where it's all at on our website. Can you drop that link for the website into the chat as well, for everyone, Hubert, so people can get to that stuff? Those of us that have been social services for a really long time have continually see these poor health impacts that happen to individuals that run into this. And so right on. Thank you very much for that. All right. I'm going to go, I see Scott on here, and Scott, Let's see, is this a good time for us to jump over and do a little HCBS update? I'm gonna hold off on the budget stuff for just a little bit more here.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so the current HCBS update as of today, 5/31. So the end of May, our goal was to hit 60%. We're going to hit 61% with 314 sites visited out of a total of 517. So we have a couple of different goals set out. All of these are planned through the rest of the year, through the end of August. And so by the end of June, our anticipation is to be at 76%, which will be 393 sites visited. July, we're looking at 452, which would be 87%. And then the last month then is 100% with 517 sites visited. Everything is going as planned. We're actually up to about 85% for our initial visit compliance. So a lot of these vendors are on point, being very proactive, and a lot of individuals or a lot of these providers are going out and making the changes the same day or within a day, and providing proof of those changes. Oftentimes it's locks, but we're fast getting into compliance, and it's just a really good feeling. Cheers to the HCBS reviewers. Thank you so much.
Right on, absolutely. Again, this is one of those things where I don't necessarily feel like I want our regional center to be the first one that's done with all of their reviews. I don't know if that quite makes sense, but we're a large regional center that has a lot to review as far as the number of settings. And so with that, I appreciate the fact that there was a little bit of time spent in the front end of planning to make sure that we had enough resources and staff to be able to kind of get this accomplished and meet the timeframes. And I'm very pleased to see that we're meeting the timeframes that we've set. And again, you know, having service providers that are listening and taking that support and making the changes and getting things updated very quickly is the key to the success of our regional center. Like, we cannot do this with a like hugely resistant, you know, population of service providers. So again, like, you know, you guys are very bought in with a lot of the HCBS stuff. I know we talk about it a lot, and we talk about it, you know, across all of our different settings, but I just, you know, appreciate that we are accomplishing this because it is a lot to get done in such a short period of time for a regional center. So good stuff. All right. You know, Carly, I didn't mention it previously, but I wonder if you might have the micro enterprise stuff handy at some point.
Yep, I have it up ready to share whenever you are.
Excellent. Yeah, when I'm going to make you a co-host, if that's okay, and then you can do your thing. All right. Thank you very much, Carly.
We have our micro enterprise fair coming up on Tuesday, June 4th. I am excited to say, actually, first of all, can I just get confirmation that you are all seeing this?
Looks good.
Good. Thank you. I am excited to say that we are completely filled up. We have so many people who have registered to attend. This is the first event where unfortunately we are completely full. I've had to unfortunately turn some people away. So it's just each event we have, it gets larger and larger. Everyone hears about it. Everyone's so excited to attend. So we are completely full. Everyone, all of the available spaces have been registered. So it's going to be a large event. We're super excited. It's going to be, I think, even bigger than last time. And again, if you are available to come as just to come and support, if you are with the program and want to bring clients who just want to come look at everything that our clients have to sell and promote, it'll be a fun event. We'll have snacks there. It's going to be a good time. It always is. So again, it's June 4th, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. At our Sacramento office.
All right, you need to let me know if we need to increase our snack budget now that we've got so many additional people signed up for this. Because again, if there's one thing that is aligned with our regional center and what we're trying to promote and the employment of individuals and providing a space for us to show how important that is, it's hosting something like this. So again, very pleased to hear that it's gotten even larger. And then, we certainly have one, I think, towards the end of November, beginning of December, that we usually do as well. That's also, really well attended. So we'll make sure, we got a lot of client services managers on here, but we'll make sure all of our staff are, hopefully in the office on that day and able to participate. Any questions about the Micro Enterprise Fair? All right. Then I am now going to throw it over to our Director of Clinical and Intake, Camelia.
Good morning. Hello, everyone. I just had a quick announcement. I don't have a pretty flyer to share, but I just wanted to give a save the date for our behavioral services providers. We are going to have a training. We're going to host a training by Dr. Jonathan Tarbox, and he's a professor and a researcher, journal writer, author at USC, and he'll be here on, again, July 12th, and he's going to provide training on acceptance and commitment training in ABA. So we are a certified CE provider, so we will be offering continuing education units for behavior analysts who are interested and want to attend. I can put my contact information in the chat now, and feel free to reach out to me if you want to be added to the list that will include you and give you more information as we get closer to the date. There'll be just kind of mass communication going out. So again, if you want to be identified as someone to be contacted of interest of attending, it'll be at Alta, our Sacramento location, July 12th. That's what I got, John. Thank you. I'll put my info in now.
Right on. Thank you so much for that, Camelia. And again, check the chat. You'll be able to get that. Hey, because I love putting people on the spot, as many of you know, Medi and Tracy participated in a town hall that we had. Was that last week? I don't know if did you guys have an opportunity to talk about it at all with the group here, your experiences there in our virtual town hall in Yolo County?
It was interesting. It was very interesting to see that community come together and just trying to get resources for aging adults. It was very interesting, and it was information that my team and I are getting together and just talking to see how we can expand in that area in Yolo County, Davis, all those areas. There's definitely a need for sure. It was nice. It was very nice that you guys do that, though.
Yeah, and just to piggyback on what Minnie was saying, it was for me, that was it was really eye-opening. I think as sometimes we don't get immersed enough in the community. And I even afterwards, I asked John to please continue to invite me to these, because it's extremely helpful to, like you said, Minnie, to have the information, to hear what the in the moment needs are. And yes, we know we can't fix everything, by tomorrow, but at the same time, we have tangible information to be able to take back and say, okay, this is what the community in Yolo is saying is important. This is where we are lacking. This is where we need to beef up, not just affordable housing, but that transition to people moving into their own places and moving out, and what that looks like and what that takes. And those are case management things that we can work on and train to. And, being that I oversee the Woodland office, it was extremely helpful just to make those connections with community partners as well. So I just, anytime you guys get an opportunity to sit in on these town hall meetings, I would just say go for it and listen. I really learned a lot. So.
Yeah, again, for a lot of the outreach stuff, when we have families that are there, clients that are there, it's been so invaluable to have, Michelle Johnson's been, my partner on all of these, but we've had Veronica Hallgren, we've had Catherine there from the Woodland office. And so being able to have those folks directly hear from the people that participate about what the needs are, but then also having the Board of Supervisors there and having the housing folks there and having the public guardian there in Yolo County. Again, I think, I just appreciate that they, allowed us to, I think this is our 5th or 6th one of these town halls, and it's our last one. And Sydney's not on, but shout out to Sydney Rupert, who started off this adventure with us when she was actually working for Yolo Healthy Aging. And then after sitting in on our meetings, applied and came to work and works in our community services department now. And so she actually joined our meeting as well and took some good notes as an Alta employee we're going to be authoring a report to the Board of Supervisors for Yolo County on some recommendations on how to better strengthen the supports for aging caregivers in Yolo County. So I can just say this partnership has really led to some amazing housing development opportunities, but I mean, and Michelle could tell you as well, but we've learned so much about transportation in what the needs are there in that county. We've learned so much about social isolation that people, deal with in some, because we've done, meetings in Esparto, we've done them in Winters, we've gone to all the different communities there in Yolo County. So again, just appreciate the venue and always appreciate our service providers that are able to participate in these things too, Medi. So thank you very much, because again, you guys are our eyes and ears actually out in the community. So thank you guys. All right. I did want to plug something real quickly from DDS, which is the DSP Workforce Survey $8,000 incentive. It is back available again. The rollout has been kind of challenging as far as the communication from the department right now. They've got a lot of different things that they are looking at trying to operationalize, but I just dropped that in the chat there, and I'm going to share my screen so you can take a look at it real quickly. But this is the incentive information for filling out the DSP workforce surveys, and the information is right available there too. So just want to make sure folks take advantage of that. Additionally, I want to talk a little bit about the HCBS animation project, which we are one of the regional centers that has assisted in the funding of the HCBS animation project. This is something that is a tool that can be utilized. It appears it is being utilized a lot, because I'm looking at the hits on the website and it appears that the YouTube videos are being watched. I know we talked about it previously with you, but there's a lot of work that has gone into this. And very good production values with some Hollywood producer folks that are involved with Tri-Counties Regional Center. So just want to encourage folks to take some time to take a look at that as well, please. And let's see here. So additionally, let me make sure I cross that off my list. You will have to apologize. My staff, or some of my staff, are aware of this, but my house is a current construction zone. And so if you hear loud banging and things like that, no one's trying to break into my office. It's that there's people that are working on things upstairs right above my head. So with that, I want to touch on a couple different things that have been released related to the California budget. And I also want to give folks an update as it relates to the rate study. And I've been trying to decide, since I talked with my managers about this about half an hour ago or hour ago or so, what's the best way to go about this. So let me, I guess, give everyone an up-to-date as far as what information we have at the regional centers as it relates to implementing the rate study. And we'll kind of start there, and then we'll also kind of talk about the budget as well. So as it relates to the rate study, it's May 30th, 1st of 2024. We know tomorrow is the last month of the fiscal year. And this information I'm sharing with you is inclusive of my recent discussions with DDS and all the other regional centers when we met for the ARCA meetings last week. So as of this date, we are still awaiting a number of things that would allow us to be able to successfully implement the rate study, which we do not have guidance on. So with that, what we are currently awaiting guidance on is the specific directives that outline the descriptions of what the rates will look like by service code. So we were told by the Department of Developmental Services that they will be authoring individualized directives for all the different service codes that outline how we will be implementing it, what is included within those service codes, as well as what the rate methodologies are. And in some cases, like we've been previewing for some of you with transportation, because some of you are aware that Eric Champa and I and other providers throughout the state are part of the work group with DDS, is that they're actually looking at implementing a whole new rate methodology, which is a per mile rate. From looking at the directives and the things that are in process, so for example, I've seen the transportation directive that's in process. Excuse me, it appears that the directives are going to be extremely detailed as far as what their expectations are for service providers. A lot of the questions that it appears, we've been looking for answers appear to be outlined specifically. We don't have the final versions of them though. And as some of you may be aware of, there's a whole lot of different service codes. There are so many different ways in which every single month the regional center pays service providers. And within that, so many existing rate methodologies, sometimes within the same service code. So we know that we're looking at aligning everything to the existing rate study, and we know that the directives are going to be working towards doing that. One of the questions that we asked was, in essence, do we lose the opportunity to be able to give out rates that are not described, in essence, in the rate study once July 1 hits? It appears that that is the direction where we will be going, is that as of July 1 for the rate study implementation, that we will be giving out those new rates, and that's what they are. The challenge is, again, as I just got done mentioning, we have not received any of the guidance that lets us know what that is. Here's what we've been told. What we've been told is that the crosswalk document that we've been talking about since June of 2023 is near completion, and that is going to be made available to regional centers to serve as a guideline overall. However, the actual directives themselves are going to outline, in essence, okay, I'm described here as for example, I'll just use it because it's in my mind, a closed transportation company, service code 875, or no, I'm a public transportation company. And there's additional descriptors that are in here, but there's also, again, a very detailed description of what the rate methodologies are. Some of you that have been vendor for a long time know that we have rates in our median rate table. Anyone that works in community services knows this, that have no real definition. They were all put together when the median rates were first established, and they were based off of a lot of different types of rates that service providers had. But what some of those things meant, some of those descriptions were never really standardized ever. And so we've had a lot of disparities over the years when it comes to rate setting and things like that. So all that to be said, we don't have that guidance yet. And if we are to implement the rate study effective July 1 and give everyone new rates, we would need to be able to review all of those documents. We need to be able to figure out how to operationalize those changes. Additionally, we do not yet know what changes may need to be made to your vendorization. So Mehdi was just talking right now. Well, Pride might decide that they might be moving from some type of service category to another based off of the new directive that came out. We don't know what activities Pride Industries is going to need to do to modify their vendorizations prior to being able to bill for their first months of service, if that makes sense, off of a new rate. Are folks kind of following what I'm talking here? We don't know those activities yet that are going to happen. And so again, just making sure that you as service providers are aware of that when it looks at our ability to be able to turn around and offer those new kind of finalized rates, if that's what needs to occur, these are the activities that have to happen at the regional center first in order for us to be able to do that. Additionally, the new rate methodologies require new monitoring processes. So for example, and again, I'll use transportation because it was a fresh one and we were talking about it during our meeting earlier today. If there's going to be new guidelines that set rates based off of different types of categories, then we have to then develop new ways to ensure that the rates are calculated appropriately. In essence, it would be re-vendoring a lot of different providers and new rate letters that outline specifically what the new rate methodologies are. Some of you are a 055 service providers, that community-based service like that. We know that that's not something that's included in the rate study. We're awaiting figuring out what needs to happen in order for us to be able to transition that. So I want to make sure folks are just well aware of kind of where we're at. Some of you know that we were charged, and Lori Benalis made it very clear that we passed it along to service providers that we at the regional center have been charged to implement the rate study effective July 1. That being said, and we have put everything in preparation that we can to support you as service providers, we don't yet have the guidance yet on how to do some of those things that will happen regardless, it seems like, effective July 1. So we're awaiting that. We know the department is working on it. They're in some areas very close communication with the regional centers, and we're providing all the feedback and guidance. So for my managers, Michelle and them, did I catch everything that I talked about, I think earlier? I think I did, right? Now, I just want to check in with folks. Do folks have questions then about rate study implementation? I will say one thing I forgot to add is about the quality incentives. So the 10%. That's the other aspect of this as well. And the most up-to-date aspect is that the service provider portal, which to our understanding is still going to be a component and of your getting that 10% across the board for all service providers, is something that is not ready to go yet. I don't believe any provider here can let me know that they got emails from DDS having them confirm their information in the portal. Please, immediately you can unmute if you can let me know that anyone has gotten that, because they believe they're kind of on a holding pattern with that too. So the other aspect that many of you are aware of is that in order for us to be able to fully give out the full rate study increases that should occur July 1 for your billing effective the beginning of August, would also be a calculation for us to determine whether or not you've completed that quality incentive, which again has not been defined to you all yet as providers as to what it will be specifically, nor have we gotten guidance on what specifically our role would be once they determine what you guys need to do that. So what our verification part of it will be to pay you. So all of this, again, just want to make sure everyone's abundantly aware of where we're at with the rate study, where we're at with the implementation of it. And as soon as there's additional guidance over the next few weeks, this will be a place where we're going to be giving it. We'll let you know as soon as, because there will be probably immediate fast things that need to be done by you as service providers. But even more so, I'll be very honest with you, because we've got a lot of client services managers on here. We all remember what happened with transitioning over to like alternative services rates a few years ago and things like that. We have to figure out a way to operationalize things so that it can be implemented by all our service coordinators and their client services managers, especially if we're talking about new ways of assessing rates and doing authorizations for like hours of services, which again are all things that could be described and will be described in the directives that we haven't quite seen yet. So again, it's another additional area of operationalizing things that the regional center is still going to need to work on. And so that being said, that is as much of an update that I have as far as the rate study. I'm open, if anyone is familiar of any different information that's heard things from maybe other regional centers or DDS meetings that they're in, I'm very open. I just want to make sure folks are all on the same page, because I know a lot of service providers are very concerned about this and want to make sure that, you know, the only assurances I guess I can give is that we are the best prepared that we possibly can be. I feel like we're very well informed as a regional center as far as where we're at, and the staff, we will get them going on the activities as soon as they become, you know, kind of apparent to us. Right on. All right.
I have questions, but
Yeah,
there's
please,
no-
Mehdi. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I have lots of questions, but you don't have the answers to them yet. So it's okay. We'll hold off. I'm sure that as you guys get the information, you will share or pass it on or something. Especially if we're going to have to adjust our programs and adjust the services that we're providing to get those rates. So yeah, hopefully you guys will send out letters or hold a meeting or something. So yeah, I have lots of questions.
We're gonna be right here every week. So if you hear rumors about things from other regional centers or things they need, like because a lot of you serve multiple regional centers, this is our little community here. Like, we need to get through this next phase of trying to implement this thing if we can, because we also need to make sure that none of you are leaving money on the table kind of in any way. I want to make sure that everyone is very clear about exactly what they are doing, and we're not rushing into choosing service codes or choosing certain service lines that don't align with what what your costs are in the rate study to the best of our ability. So I just want to kind of put that out there too, that's another concern, is that we don't want to rush this part of it, because then it's establishing new rates for you guys, and we don't want to have that be messed up either. So just wanted to let you know kind of that's that update. Now, as it relates to next steps and things, I do want to share in the chat right now the release that came out from the legislature, and I would welcome anyone, especially if people start hammering again upstairs in my house, to talk about this if they're interested. But I did just drop in the chat the joint legislative budget plan, which rejects the proposal to delay the developmental services rate increase. And so I'm going to share my screen real quickly so you guys can see the document that I'm sharing. Are you guys seeing my shared document right there?
Yes.
Yeah, right on. And so I want to make sure folks have that. And then additionally, let's see if I can go over to the hearing agenda. This is the hearing agenda. Some of the things that are now kind of being rejected are also things like the health and safety waiver assistance. The legislature would like to see the health and safety waiver assistance still stay in the budget as well. And I'm going to drop this one in the chat. So if you guys want to take a look at, well, maybe I can't put that one in the chat. Oh, that's a different chat. All right. put it in this chat. There we go. So that way you can take a look specifically at the Senate budget stuff. So again, I know that this is kind of a final push here. Hearings going on, lots of discussions. The rate study implementation, I think, is the big topic that folks are very much advocating for. I would like to thank the folks, any of you folks that are part of the Capital Coalition that put on the rally that I was invited to last week. I had an opportunity. Lori gave a fantastic, I heard you guys watch the video, which is really cool. Lori gave a fantastic speech really talking about our commitment to ensuring that our service providers have those sustainable rates. And I really appreciated the opportunity to speak there as well, and rally on behalf of, and the letter writing campaign, the fact that Lindsay went from talking to you guys about it to it getting sent out so widely. And then I know that there was a really large number of letters that were able to be delivered as well. So keep up that advocacy. If anyone has questions about how to kind of activate some of those advocacy opportunities, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. I think a provider advisory committee that's going to be coming up is probably going to be a pretty important one. Do I have any provider advisory committee members that might want to give us a plug for our upcoming provider advisory committee meeting? Alrighty then, I'll do it all by myself. We've got a provider advisory committee meeting coming up on June 13th. That's going to be a good time, I think. June 13th, it's going to be at 9:30 at Alta California Regional Center. Always love to have people show up in person for our provider advisory committee meetings. They are open meetings, and it's a great opportunity for you to be able to connect. This time around, I see that I do not have a meeting scheduled for the next hour afterwards. So for anyone too, I love to be able to connect with people after the provider advisory committee meeting. If I've got a little bit of time, I always feel like I'm rushing with folks, but want to encourage people to attend that. I think that time of year, we're going to have a very good update on the budget, and we should be able to give some really detailed information about the, hopefully the rate study by then, because we should have more from the department by then. Alrighty, so let's see here. With that, I understand when we had our transportation vendor forum, and we have some upcoming vendor forums and events. So I'm going to jump over to my calendar real quickly of upcoming events, and we'll talk about kind of what we've got upcoming as a regional center. Let me share my screen here. All right. So first, I do apologize. I understand that I missed out on a transportation vendor forum that we had yesterday, a presentation by R&D going over some of their processes. And with that, my understanding further is that we want to look at scheduling a additional question and answer session, kind of just specifically to talk about things. And so I will look forward to that. I think the plan is going to be that we're going to do an in-person meeting where we specifically go over the new transportation directive that's coming out from the department that specifically outlines the rates and responsibilities and things like routing and things like that. And so we're going to share that directly with folks once we receive it from the Department of Developmental Services. And we'll schedule an in-person meeting at Alta California Regional Center, where I myself will make myself available. And I know that Michelle Duchesne is now taken over the reins of transportation, works certainly well with our adult services and residential that she already oversees. And then we'll get Iqbal in there as well too. I'd like to have an opportunity for folks to, if they have not met our CFO, and but it'd be a good opportunity for us to go over some of the specifics about what the new directive says for transportation providers and what the new rate methodologies that are allowable are. So stay tuned for that. We don't have the information yet. The department's going to be dropping it hopefully very shortly. But once we get that, it's going to be one of probably many meetings that we may have to have with you different service providers to go over those directives. So for example, if one comes out about, ILS, the ILS group might need to meet individually at Alta, so we're all on the same page about what next activities are going to be required of all of you. We just don't know yet, because we don't know exactly when and what we're going to get from the department. And we also don't know what our timeframes are going to be to implement all of this at the regional center as well. In the interim, though, we have a lot of other cool things going on at our regional center, including upcoming vendor forums. So please check on our events calendar, and on there you can see that we've got the feet walk, the rescheduled feet walk tomorrow, which is happening. And I think we're going to have some folks out there taking pictures for our newsletter, I believe, when we're out there, because I think we ended up sponsoring that one as well. We have the YOLO Juneteenth event coming up as well. We also have a number of different events. So you can see our calendar here, upcoming resource fair. I believe this is another one that we're going to be participating into. So again, just lots of different things throughout our community. If there are things that you'd like to see featured in here, please don't hesitate to reach out to us and we can look at adding some of those. Again, when you look at the upcoming vendor forums, Supported Living Services Vendor Forum, Adult Day and Employment Vendor Forum, some of these other ones, we'll see what happens between now and when the rate study stuff comes out and solidifies, the budget comes out. We may have to call kind of what we did in the past, like kind of like emergency vendor meetings where we break you guys up by your individual services and then try to do more direct meetings. So let us just figure out the timeframes that DDS gives us to implement stuff, and then we'll figure out how we can best communicate with you guys. And then we always see everyone every Friday here. And so if there's suggestions or things that you guys want to look at differently, or if you hear anything differently, just let us know, because this is it's a lot going, the end of the fiscal year is always a huge challenge for the Community Services Department. Jordan's staff are trying to get so many different contracts and all these different things done. Right now it is crazy because it's the end of the fiscal year. It's rollover for our case management staff and for accounting. So this is a good place if you guys want updates between now and when we have our provider advisory committee meeting on some of these other items. There is an open letter to Governor Newsom. So this is a petition that is going around, and I'm going to drop it in the chat right now as well. This is what I recommend folks doing is people go to the Association of Regional Center Agencies website and just get signed up for their updates that Daniel puts out. It's available for everyone. A lot of the materials that I provide to you all are things that he includes in his updates. And again, it's just a mailing list. DDS nowadays, sometimes they release things on their mailing that they don't even put on their website or send to us. So I would encourage you to get on DDS's mailer as well. And maybe that's something we can do at one of these upcoming meetings, is go through all the ones that we're subscribed to. Many of us review Marty Emoto's emails. That keeps many of us up to date on things as well. And Marty's a very local advocate who does a lot of statewide work as well. All right, so as it relates to the rate study update, as it relates to the budget or any of those next steps, any questions that folks have that they think Alta may have the answer for? All right, right on then. Well, if that's the case, I can ask, as I typically do, Michelle Johnson or Camellia to see if they have anything else further that from case management or from clinical.
Nothing.
I'm good.
Awesome. Good for both. Well, then we will look forward to wishing everyone a fantastic weekend. We'll look forward to talking to folks next week. And thanks again to staff last week that did Coffee with Community Services while I was out. I always appreciate you keeping everyone updated. So thank you all very much. We'll look forward to talking to folks next week. Great job, Carly. Great job, Hubert. Great job, Michael. We'll talk to you guys later.